Good evening.
Hey,
Happy Friday.
That's a groovy song.
Do you like that? I'll send you that on a mix.
That's a snappy tune.
That's Tom on the decks.
Yeah.
Really?
No.
Yeah.
That, Keith, is the highlight of the
These
evening.
decks.
Did I just screw up the introduction?
No, I think he's good at fucking decks.
Oh dear. Good evening, Rob, Ron,
Hello.
Hello.
and His Highness Reef Bum, Keith. Happy Friday.
Thanks for having me on, guys. Really appreciate this. It's gonna be a lot of fun.
I said to Tom, who is he?
Yeah.
Ha ha ha. What the fuck? Why am I getting dragged back into these live streaming podcasts? I thought I was done.
No.
You're never done.
You're never done.
You're never done.
No.
Suck back in.
No, you're not finished until you're not finished until you're cremated and turned into a frag plug or an ironing board like that.
I was telling you, Tom, man,
anyway?
I'm digging that reef structure behind you.
Did you hear it? Come on, say it again, Keith, please.
I like it a lot. I like it a lot. Maybe you could, maybe add something else to give it a little bit more definition in terms of, if you're planting SPS on that thing. But I guess if you have different kind of SPS that are growing at different rates, it's gonna work itself out. But that's pretty freaking cool, man. If you ask me.
Tom, that PayPal payment totally paid off. Well done. Oh, bravo.
Yeah, I need a VAT receipt, Keith. Please send it in.
I am not influenced by any monetary or free products or anything like that. I'm totally untethered at this point.
Good lad.
Nice.
Good man.
Yeah.
I mean, not at this point. I'm not I don't like that sort of thing in terms of having that material connection and well, I guess we can get into all that stuff.
Yeah,
if you want,
influenced. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So what time are you on in Vermont at the minute?
It's 3:00 in the afternoon. 3:00 in the afternoon. A little before when I typically will have a beer. I don't start drinking heavily for usually like another hour, but
no one's believing that.
heavily.
4 o'clock on it.
Bosh.
That's usually cocktail hour, 4:30. But you know what? I got a beer next to me, so I'll break that out real soon.
Brilliant.
Cool.
Yeah.
Pretty good.
So we have a series of questions that we're topics that we want to discuss with you, and I'm sure some of them you've. Unfortunately, Ron decided not to send them to your PA. I'm afraid, Keith. So you haven't had time to prepare, which was, I suppose, part of the plan. But yeah, as always, it's just as much about the audience and in the live chat. And thank you very much to those of you that have made the effort to join us this Friday evening, which should be an amazing stream show with Keith. And thanks again for joining us. So what I'll do, Keith, I'm just going to jump into the live chat and say sort of happy Friday to the people who've made the effort to join us, which is what we normally do. And then we'll go straight into the questions, if that's all right, and kick it off from there. So let's have a look at who we've got in the house tonight. We've got Steve's in the house, East Coast Reefer. Steve. Good evening, Steve. Evening, Steve. Thanks for joining us. Nice to see you. Nice chatting with you on Wednesday on your channel.
Very good stream. Very good stream. I think you both did a very good job.
Oh, did that hurt? No, it was all right. It was good. It was good. Thanks, Steve. Willstone Reefer, evening. Happy Friday, folks. Hope you're good.
Got my sound effect.
Oh, go on. You done it? Come on.
Come in, landing gears down, Willstone Reefer.
What the hell was that?
So you're going to have to give some explanation now to Keith, Ron, because Keith's like, what on earth is happening?
Willstone Reefer joined a tank tour we did last week with this great big headset on, but with the big mic bit that comes round, and he looked like an old-fashioned pilot. Anyway, I said that, and he went, and we moved on.
What do you got? Sound effects studio there or something?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I've got lots more to come.
Uh-oh.
Oh, dear. We've got Johnny Boy's in the house. John Wright, evening, John Boy.
Evening, John.
John Wright. What's happening there, John Wright?
He
Nice
gets
to see you
around.
there. He does.
Yeah, he was like standing up for my live stream.
Yeah.
He does.
Hardcore.
He is. is committed, that's for sure. Or needs committing, bless him. One or the other. Critical Reefer, evening Critical Reefer. Hope you're all good. Yes, we are. Thank you.
Evening, my man.
Who else have we got now so far? Techers Reef. Evening, ladies and gentlemen.
Hey, Terry.
Evening. We've got Liam's here, Gills Aquarium.
Hey, Liam. How are you?
Like the avatar, very good.
Very good.
King Shark. That's
That's for
pretty
you,
sharp.
Pete, that one.
Some new names in the chat tonight. We've got Sharbuckles Reef.
Hey, Sharbuckles.
Good evening. Good evening. Is that a name you recognise, Keith? One of yours at all? Sharbuckles Reef? No? It's a new one.
It looks familiar.
Looks familiar.
That's
I bet it's
the
hard. I bet it's hard to figure out of the 1,000 people that watch your streams compared to us with a mere 40, 50 who's who. But we try our best. Oh dear, who have we got? Melinda or Miranda, as you're calling her at the minute.
Hey, Melinda. Good morning.
We've got Matty Boy in the house. Evening, Matt.
Hey,
Norfolk
Matt.
Reefer.
Good evening.
Leroy's a bit slower to the show as always, but nice to see you here, mate. Good evening. Evening, Lee. Rodder's in the house. Rodder's in the chat.
Hey.
Fine.
Evening. And then we've got Immers. Evening. Legend on tonight. I think they're talking about you, Rob. So, yeah, everybody knows
I
you're
can imagine so, yeah.
I agree with that.
John Boy, anything?
Hey, John.
John B. How you doing? Fly through these. Anthony's in as well. UK 120. And we've got Ryan's Reef as well. Hello, Ryan's Reef. Hope
Young
you're
Ryan.
good. There's no game today, so sorry you can't win anything. So you'll have to sit and listen. for a
Todd,
game.
Champion Lighting and Supply.
Yeah, he's
Down
in
there,
there.
Todd.
Let's have a look. We've got Rama. Oh, Banana Rama. Not seen Rama for a bit.
Oh, hello, mate. Yeah, been a
Hello,
while.
stranger. Been a while.
Hope you're good.
Hope you're well, mate. Hope you're good. Reef 216. Bernadette. So that's Ron's better half. Is in the chat.
All right.
Just sound. He looks so enthused at that. Bruce's mummy. Evening, Bruce. Evening, Jazz. Hope
Hey,
you're good.
Hi.
Timothy's in the house. Evening, Wait for Reef.
Tim.
Evening, Tim.
Tim.
Nice to see you joining us. Thank you very much. Go on, Rob. Over to you,
Dave.
Dave.
Evening, Dave.
Dave's in as well. We've got Zach.
Hey, Zach.
Hey, hello, Zach.
And I think we're getting there. Oh, sorry. Amanda, how are you? Happy Friday.
So you didn't
Amanda.
notice her avatar, which is a drunk old lady by a fish
Yes.
tank drinking.
Mm. Is that an avatar or is that just a photo?
Is that just a photo?
Ouch.
What she should do is reenact that avatar in real life and send us the
Yeah.
photo. And we'll show it. Anyway.
Yeah.
Go on, Ron, over to you.
Oh, it's the spiritual reacher.
Nice.
Evening, Harry.
He already said it himself. Look, reaching out and joining
Yes.
the conversation.
Oh, it is.
Good evening, Harry.
Good evening. We've got Dave R. Evening,
Dave
Dave
R.
R.
Dave on.
We've got Samuel Gavin. Evening, Samuel.
Samuel.
Thanks for joining us.
So what's this going to go on for like another hour or something?
Yeah, this is it. This is it, Keith.
We've just
Yeah,
got you
we
on
take
for
a-
this,
we
and
take a
that's it.
bite.
You
That's
just want to
it.
go for a slash just now, Keith.
Hiya, Stuart. Thanks for coming
Hey,
on. Thanks for getting involved. Carlos, hope you're well. Nice to see you. Uran's Reef, as always. Good tank tour the other week. I did
Oh,
watch it back.
Chris. Hey,
It
Chris.
was good. Good tank tour. Nice tank.
Yeah.
Ellis Hayes. Evening, Ellis Hayes.
Evening.
Thank you very much for joining us.
There's a lot of people.
Jason.
Yeah.
Good evening, Jason.
Hey, Jason.
Yeah. We've got Mecca's wives in the chat.
No
Good evening,
way.
Mrs. Mecca.
Hey, Amanda, what's that?
Hey.
Evening,
Hey,
Mr.
Amanda.
Snickers.
Evening. Tommy B. Hope you're good. Yes. Hope you're good. Having a wee drink. Too right. Drippy's here. Have you ever? No, I'm ignoring this. Let's just keep moving on.
Hey,
Mr. Sam Parker has
What?
joined us from
Oh,
Australia. Sam,
Thanks,
good evening.
Tank tour soon.
Tank tour soon. Looking forward to it. I think we are flying through as many as I can. Bristol Reefer, evening all.
Hello.
Thank you very much.
Hello.
We've got Jim in the house as well. Evening, Jim.
Evening, Jim.
Ben Gillespie. Nice to see you. I bet Welsh Ben. Yeah, nice to see you. Hope you're good.
Apologising for being late.
Yeah. Paul Davenport, My Little Lagoon. Evening,
Paul.
everyone. Go on, Keith. One for you.
Todd, champion lighting and supply. What's happening, brother?
Two fish
There you
and
go.
Todd.
Frag Rocks. Evening, Frag Rocks.
Hello.
Hope you're well. Yarek's Reef. Nice to see you back on the comments. Nice to see you in the chat.
Yeah.
Good.
I haven't seen that name for a while.
Long time no see. Yeah. Lee A. Good evening, Lee.
Hello,
We've got Dave Bensley, Ad Reef. Sorry. Nice to see you, Dave.
Hey,
Hope you're
Dave.
well. Hope you have a good week. NSB Reefs. This is a long register. We're nearly done.
I think we need to discuss a cut-off point at some point. I think.
Sean Russell's here as well. Hiya, Sean. Hope you're good. I need to talk to you about coming on and chatting with us again. Mylot, hope you're good.
Hey, Milo.
Nice to see that name in here again. Keeps coming on. Thanks for the support. Haley Barr, hope you're good. I've tracked her down. It's just a matter of dates. She is coming on the network.
Superb.
So she will be getting in and talking about her tank with us. Keith, we are there. We're there, man.
What?
We're there.
What's going
We're
on
there.
here?
We're there. We're done. We're done.
Wake up, Keith.
That is everybody. That is everybody so far. And as always, if anybody joins us, I will do my best to give you a shout out. And thank you ever so much. There's 75 of you that are watching this evening. Yeah,
It's a good crowd.
Yeah.
good crowd.
Thanks for having me on again.
It's all right.
Cool.
So now that the intros took about an hour, Keith, I'm going to have to rattle through these fucking...
I ain't doing no 5-hour stream like Megley. I'll tell you that.
No,
much right
neither
now.
am I. Neither am I. No way.
One question and off we pop.
Yeah.
That dude is. I love him,
Chatty.
but I don't have his
Yes.
endurance for a lot. We did that 5-hour, and I guess you guys wanted to break that record, and you did a 6-hour with him, right?
I'm not sure we wanted to, Keith. I think
But
that could be stretching it. But
then Reef Builders, he shattered it. He like doubled it. He got
Yeah.
12 hours.
Well,
12 hours. Yeah, it's insane.
quality over quantity, Keith.
So let me ask you guys some questions. I got a list of questions here too.
Oh, go on, then.
Oh, I'm throwing a
Let's
curveball at you,
reverse.
huh?
Let's flip it.
I'm throwing a curveball at
First
you.
question from Keith. Who's the prick down the bottom right?
Give us a wave, Rob.
No, I'm just joshing you. Go ahead.
Yeah. I thought you were balancing your checkbook there, waiting for all those shout outs, Keith.
Oh yeah, I'm trying to like multitask. Didn't know how much longer those name dropping things would go on for.
Yeah.
Let's get serious just for a minute, Keith, and let's get started with how did you get started in reefing?
How did I get started in reef keeping? I've been keeping reef tanks for like around 30 years. Maybe it's over 30 years. But when I was a kid, my father was into saltwater fish only tanks. So he had I think it was a 120 gallon tank, maybe it was 125, and so he kept saltwater fish, and I remember always going to local fish stores with him when he was looking for fish. But he didn't have any live coral or anything back then. It was all dead coral. And I also remember we went on vacation down to Jamaica, and he picked up some dead coral in Jamaica. And the coral actually came back on the plane with us. I think it was in the seat next to us, I believe. But it was like, it might have been like some beautiful elkhorn coral that was, all bleached out, or maybe it wasn't bleached out. It was dead. So then he took it home and then bleached it all out to make sure that there was nothing that would be bad to have inside of the tank. So yeah, I kind of grew up around fish tanks and him keeping saltwater fish. So, but he never had, way back then, I think keeping a reef tank was something not really feasible. But
What sort of years are we talking? Is that late 70s, early 80s? I don't know. Don't know how old you. I mean, what are you, 30, Keith? How old are you?
yeah, I'm 30. I think that's probably. Let's see here. Let me do some calculations on my calculator here. We're probably talking like 50 years ago.
Wow.
Right.
You know, maybe even further back than that. And so so that's kind of like how I had the bug. And then when I got out of college and got a job, my wife and I met my wife in New York City, and so we had an apartment in New York City. And so I wanted to there's a thing called the San Gennaro Festival. It's down in Little Italy in New York, and it happens like for a couple of weeks every year in September. And it's a big festival where you have carnival games, you have food vendors. There's a whole bunch of it's a big celebration that they have, and so there was one of these games they had. I don't know if they have this where you guys are at, but they have like goldfish bowls with goldfish in them, and you throw ping pong balls.
Yeah.
And if the ping pong ball lands into the goldfish bowl, you win the goldfish. So I played that game and I won a goldfish, and I took that goldfish home and had quite a few beverages that night. So woke up with a pretty good hangover the next morning, realizing that I had this goldfish that I needed to take care of. And I was, it was like one of these little, I don't know how many, maybe it was like a half a gallon or something like that, little goldfish bowl. So I went out to to a pet shop in New York City. I think it was like a 2-gallon tank that I bought for the goldfish, but I don't think that thing survived more than a few days. So that was kind of like my first tank, was a 2-gallon tank for a goldfish. Then it morphed into more freshwater. I started I think it was like a 29-gallon freshwater planted tank. And I had some tetras in there and some other freshwater fish. So I kind of got into that whole thing, but I found it difficult to keep plants alive. Have you guys ever tried that in terms of freshwater planted tanks?
Yeah, it's pretty much like my job is keeping plants alive, Keith, and I fucked it up. I couldn't do it in a fish tank.
There you go. So you can relate.
I found it pretty
Something like
hard.
a professional.
Yes, thank you.
So yeah, I was like into I don't know if I had another tank other than the 29-gallon. Maybe it was the 29-gallon. I was keeping like Congo tetras and neon tetras, I think, things like that. I can't remember how long I had that tank for. And then I believe, I don't know how I got the idea in my head. I guess it was because of my father's experience with the saltwater fish only tank. I decided I wanted to get a reef tank, saltwater tank with live rock and that sort of thing. So I'm pretty sure it was a 90-gallon reef tank, and we lived on the 4th or 5th floor of this apartment building. I don't even know if they were allowed in the apartment building. We're renting because you bust a leak in that thing, and then people underneath you are not going to be too happy.
It's a decent size to have on your head.
Yeah. And so I basically, I don't know. I think I was reading FAMA magazine, Freshwater Marine Aquarium magazine, which is a publication that's no longer published here in the United States. I don't know if you guys ever read that or saw that. It was a very well-known publication. Julian Sprung used to write, I think it was called Reef Notes in that magazine every time it was published. And he actually, there would be reader questions that you could submit to the magazine. Back in those days, you would actually have to mail your questions in. Yeah. There was no email or anything like that.
Wait 2 months to see whether it's published.
Yeah, exactly. And I waited a few months, and Julian actually replied to my question in print in one of the following publications. So I was doing like a lot of reading. I was I
don't want to disappoint you here, Keith, but Julian Sprung is like my aquarium aquarist pinup. I know I said it was you, but it really is. It's Mr. Sprung.
No,
I'm a huge fan.
Julian is like a legend. I'm just a mere mortal compared to Julian. I mean, him and Charles Delbake are the I held up this book. This is like volume 3.
The third one, yeah.
I think I had volume 1. I've got volume 1 someplace else in the room here.
Oh,
You got that? So yeah, I read a lot of books. That's how you had to do it back then, because there was no social media.
Got that one.
There it is.
There you go. Yeah, I think is that volume 2. I think I might
That's
have
volume 2.
Yeah,
I couldn't find one. In fact, I think
so-
I've got one. It's upstairs. Yeah.
Yeah, so I did a lot of reading up on that sort of thing to try to like learn, and so I think it was like a 90-gallon reef tank that I ordered, not online, but I found this tank place. Maybe it was in North Carolina in the United States. I really don't remember how I found it. I think it was an acrylic tank, and it got shipped to me into New York City. And then that's kind of like how the journey began. I got some equipment, and I started to I got live rock. There was a couple of aquarium shops in the city at that point, so maybe I'd gotten the live rock from one of those aquarium shops. I can't remember. It might have been through the mail too, for all I, it was so long ago. But I didn't know what the fuck I was doing. I think it was like the 2-pound rule. Back then, it was like you put 2 pounds of live rock in for every gallon of water.
It's a
So
lot of rock.
it's a lot of rock. It was like a brick wall of rock. That's what it was. And
I didn't even know you had to use sea salt, Keith. So, yeah.
Yeah, well, that would definitely cause some issues. But
Yep.
so I don't remember what I remember having clams in that tank and probably killing them. I probably had some soft corals in that tank, and I don't know. I don't have any photos of that old tank. And then my wife and I had our daughter, and we decided to move out of the city to the suburbs in Westchester, which is north of New York City, about I don't know, 30, 40 miles or something like that, north of the city. And when we moved, I moved that reef tank. I don't know why, because I'm sure it wasn't anything special. But it was a funny story, because I had my wife, breaking down a tank and moving it. You got to have the timing just right. Everything's got to be, you break the tank down, then you got to move it, and then you got to get to the place, the destination, and set it up again. But we had just closed on a house. So, the plan was to move the tank out, and then the next day move it into the new house. So my wife, I asked my wife to pick up the U-Haul that I had rented, which is in Harlem, which is not a great part of. Back then, it wasn't a great part of New York City. It's and so it could be some sketchy neighborhoods. Mm-hmm. So anyway, my wife went up there to pick up the U-Haul, and they said, and I broke the tank down, so everything was all, the rock and the fish and the water were all in buckets. Everything was like ready to rock and roll and to get packed into that the U-Haul. And so my wife calls me and says, they don't have your reservation. They don't have a U-Haul for you. I'm like, what? What am I gonna do? I got everything all broken down. I mean, if I don't have that U-Haul, I'm screwed. And I said, just take it. She basically took the keys out of the guy's hands or something. There was some truck, I guess, there, and she apologized profusely. And she had a sandwich that she was gonna have for like dinner, and she gave the guy the sandwich, and pretty much stole the U-Haul.
Stole his truck.
Stole the truck.
Good exchange.
She just grabbed the keys, gave him a sandwich, and said, "I'm sorry, I gotta take this U-Haul."
A sandwich means a sandwich.
What else does it mean?
I don't fucking know. I thought it was some weird American term for something a little different.
A couple of slices of bread, some meat. That's a sandwich. What do you guys call that?
Meat. Let's talk about the meat.
We call that a butty
Oh, I
from
don't
where
like
I'm
the way
from.
this conversation is turning.
Okay, so your wife gave him a sandwich and stole his truck.
I mean, we still, I think we ended up paying for it because they had the credit card on file. I don't know, but so it was paid for. So it was like, technically our truck.
Yeah. It's just stress that you don't need.
Yeah. Yeah. So, so we got the truck, loaded everything onto the truck and we stayed at my parents' house. And so I had pumps plugged into the outlets in the garage and heaters and all that sort of thing to keep everything.
I was going to say, was it winter or what time of year was it?
No, it was like in June or July or something.
Right. Okay.
So cold wasn't an issue. And so, I reset that tank up on that house. And then that eventually, I built I had somebody do a built-in 120 in-wall aquarium, which I think is, I sent one of you guys that link to the Reef Central Tank of the Month award that I won. And so I think that's the 120 gallon tank. And then we moved again a few years later, it was maybe 10 years later or something, to Connecticut. And then it's where I set up a 225 gallon tank. And man, it's just kept getting bigger and bigger and bigger. I just kept getting deeper and deeper into it. And that's kind of like the tank that I really got into the Acropora. And then,
So after that first tank, did you ditch the acrylic?
Yeah.
Right.
The 120 gallon was a glass tank, and the 225 gallon was a glass tank that I got from a tank manufacturer in Canada. What's the name of that? They're out of business now. I know Sanjay Yoshi has the same, got his tank from the same tank manufacturer. And I believe he still has that tank.
Wow.
I can't remember the name of the manufacturer. So, yeah, and then we moved up to Vermont. So I got out of the hobby for a couple of years when we were in Connecticut. I broke down that 225 gallon tank when we were in Connecticut, and that thing was just loaded with SPS. But I did have acro-eating flatworms in that tank, so I just really did the basting method. Took a turkey baster, blew on the corals with the acro-eating flatworms were on, and I had some clownfish in there that would just follow the baster all around and just eat them. And I couldn't keep tricolors because the flatworms just they loved tricolors. Yeah. And then there was a lot of I don't think I was able to keep tenuous. So there were certain corals I couldn't keep because the acro-eating flatworms were just all over them. Even though I was basting, it was tough. But yeah, if you look at pictures of that tank, it was just really a very, very heavily SPS dominant tank.
Is that the one you used to have on your screen behind your live streams, Keith? Kind of.
Yeah, I think so. That might have been that one.
Yeah.
That might have been that one. If you go to my website on reefbum.com, I think there's a whole bunch of pictures. I've got I still have a photo section where that 225 gallon tank is.
Right, where are we? Which one? 225?
Yeah. No, that's the current.
Go
to if you scroll down to the bottom of the website, and then awards and acknowledgements. See that under information.
Yeah.
That's it. The Reef to Reef December 2010 tank of the month. Yeah.
Wow.
That was the one I had in Connecticut.
That is dynamite.
And you could see that there's a lot of like very basic corals in there. There's a couple of there's one big pink bird's nest as a centerpiece. There's a Monty cap, an orange Monty cap. There's a bunch of green bird's nest corals. There's a green stylophora. There's purple stylophora. Mm-hmm. But I also had you could see to the right center. There's the Tyree Purple Monster, the purple near the top right center. To the left of that red coral, which was the ORA Red Planet.
Oh, Red Planet, and then looks like an echinata, does it?
That's an Oregon blue tort in front of the Tyree
really?
Purple Monster.
Wow.
Yep. You see all the way to the left where that yellow pyramid butterfly fish is. That's kind of like tabling acro. That's an ORA pearlberry. I grew that thing like a weed.
Nice.
So, yep. And then that regal angelfish is in there, and that coral right below to the right of that regal angelfish is a Locani. And
this one here,
that was like the coral that people were like always just asking me for frags for that coral. So then I think there's some digitata in that tank. So I mean, there was like some really, really basic corals in that tank. There was obviously some high-end stuff in terms of the Tyree Purple Monster and the Oregon Blue Tort and the ORA Pearlberry and the Red Planet and all that stuff. But and that was a tank that I used calcium reactor, kalkwasser. I rarely test. The only thing I really tested in that tank was alkalinity, nitrate, calcium, and that was pretty much it. I never tested for phosphate. I think I rarely tested for magnesium. And back then doing ICPs wasn't something that was too common. Yeah. So I never knew what my phosphate levels were in that tank, but I never had any issues with algae or anything. What did I use for nutrient export? I guess I used GFO for phosphate. I had a protein skimmer, metal halide lighting, 400 watt 20K radium light bulbs.
Good circuit. That was coming.
What's that?
Yeah.
Just
Halides and calc.
Yeah. Kalkwasser.
Yeah.
That was part of the auto top off. But that tank had acro-eating flatworms, believe it or not. So I was living with them.
Did you have fish that were keeping the population under control?
There was, it's hard to see them, but like I said, when I was basting with the turkey baster, I had the pair of clownfish were following around, but I also had wrasses in that tank. I don't think I could see any of them in this picture, but there was leopard wrasses in that tank, at least 2 of them. So maybe they were helping out with the flatworms on that tank. So it's and I loved Anthias. I loved green chromis.
Oh, chromis for the win. Keith said chromis. There's a few.
Is that the what do you?
It's a contentious fish in this.
Oh yeah, I wouldn't buy any green chromis. I mean that's because those are the poster child for bringing in Uranema.
Yes,
and that's a bad thing. That's a bad thing, and you can't get rid of that shit. So, yeah, I would only, I guess, buy them if they were fully quarantined.
Yeah,
but
it's not
so I kept. It was a very simple tank that I kept. I didn't really. There was no dosing amino acids or coral food. There was nothing fancy going on there. There was good lighting, strong flow, and I did weekly 10%, 5 to 10% water changes. I think I used I used a bunch of different salts back then. ESV salt. I was using Tropic Marin salt at one point in time. Yeah, man, that was a great tank.
Yeah. No traces or anything down in there?
No trace elements, no nothing. Yeah. So it was but there were certain corals that I could never really color up that now that I'm using trace element dosing and doing ICPs on a regular basis. Like tricolors, I never was able to get the true colors of those out. And again, it was because of the flatworms. But just in general, I had a hard time coloring up certain types of corals. The more like, I guess, yeah, that's the tank empty. It's a German manufacturer that light fixture.
Geisman.
Geisman, yeah.
No,
Yeah.
Big Loy. However, it starts with an S, FLIG. Somebody, I can never pronounce the name of the tank. Yeah, external overflow box.
External overflow, yeah.
Eurobrace tank. That's my equipment room. So it was in our living room in our house, and then I plumbed it through the floor. And so I had a huge sump room down below the tank. And the external
pumps.
Sean, sorry to butt in. Sean's saying, does that look right?
Yes, that's it.
I'll let you have another go at pronouncing it after a beer or two, Keith.
I think I had that one time when my bollocks were itchy.
I was going to say, I've had cream for that. Yeah.
What was that?
It sounds like an STD.
Time to break out the beer after that one.
Yes. I'll get rid of this Fagoli.
Yeah, I can't remember. If somebody can pronounce it in the chat, that'd be cool. But yeah, it was, and so I think in my reef keeping journey. So then I broke that tank down because I just I forget what it was. Maybe it was the aqua reading flatworms. It kind of like gotten to a point where things started to go a little bit downhill. I don't remember what happened, but the good thing is I broke that tank down. And like 3 weeks later, we lost power in our house for a week.
Oh,
and because there was I don't know if you guys ever remember there was a bad storm that hit the East Coast of the United States, Super Storm Sandy, and it just knocked out power like all up and down the East Coast. And we did have a full house backup generator, mainly because of that tank. And when so there was I got a notification that the generator was not functioning properly. Maybe it runs all generators run like one time a week to make sure that they're running properly, and so they cycle through or whatnot for like 15 minutes once a week just to make. So it did that cycle, and then there was a notification that popped up that something was wrong, and the hurricane, the storm was coming, and so I had the generator guy come out, and he looked at it and he's like, well, there's been a catastrophic failure with the generator. And I'm like, a catastrophic failure? And he's like, yeah. And so with the storm coming, I'm only going to be able to take care of the generators, my customers that are working, like servicing them, because I anticipate all the power going out, and I'm going to have to, I anticipate just having a bunch of generators that are running that I'm going to just have to service during the storm, because they're predicting like 1 or 2 weeks of like no power. I'm like, really? And so he's like, yeah, so I can't help you. You're shit out of luck, pretty much is what.
So hold on. The people with power,
it can help.
Get help.
Well, the people that had generators that were functioning properly.
Oh, that's brilliant.
He was gonna be busy maintaining those generators while they were running during the outage.
He didn't have fucking off.
Right. He didn't have time to fix my broken generator.
Yours was too much work. He's gone, nah.
What a dick. Say his name live.
He was a jackass.
Yes.
And so then we were shit out of luck, and we didn't have a generator, and then the storm came and we lost power for like a week. I probably would have lost that tank. If I didn't break it down 3 weeks before, then that tank would have been probably gone. So then we moved to Vermont about 10 years ago, and that's when I started. I was like, I quit my corporate job. Well, I didn't quit my corporate job. I got shit canned because there was layoffs happening. I had been at the company. I used to work for CNN on the advertising side of the business, and there was we had a couple of mergers, and so they were going to do a big series of layoffs. I had an employee contract that was up at the end of the same time that they were going to do the layoffs and stuff like that. So I'm like, all right, just give me a package. and a severance package. And so they took the severance package, and my wife and I moved 5 hours north to Vermont. We had this the house I'm in right now. We had bought the house about a year and a half before then, so it was our vacation house. And we just decided, all right, I had been doing like a round trip commute to the city from our house in Connecticut. It was like a 4-hour round trip commute. So 2 hours each way to commute into the city was brutal.
Yeah, that is brutal.
And so the work-life balance was not there for me. And I was like, fuck this. And my wife was like, let's just do something different. And we moved up here. And then I decided I was going to start a business. Reef Bum. I had been known as Reef Bum on like all the reef tank forums like Reef Central and Manhattan Reefs and Reef to Reef and all that stuff. So I just took my my handle or whatever you want to call it, my name, my nickname, and turned it into I bought the URL reefbum.com back. I guess there was the whole .com craze. I was like, I'm going to be rich, man. Reefbum.com. That's a cool. And it's still, it's a great name for a reefing website.
Yeah, easy to remember. Yeah,
yep. So I set up the business as I was doing some media consulting, and I was doing reefbum.com part-time, and the plan was to sell corals online, to start a YouTube channel, to start blogging, sell some equipment and all that sort of thing. And the first few years I was doing it maybe 20 hours a week, and I was but then about 4 years ago I started doing it full time, and I was doing a lot of selling a lot of corals online, and I had the live stream going for that weekly live stream. And so it was definitely a nice little run. That but I'm still doing all that stuff, except I'm not doing the live stream. I'm not selling corals online, so I'm just doing the ICP test consulting for Fauna Marine. I'm selling Fauna Marine products. I'm selling Royal Exclusive products, GHL products, Captivate Aquaculture products, and so I'm still pretty busy. I wanted to be semi-retired, but I'm busier than I.
Not working out.
It's not kind of working out, to do that. But so it's and so when I started the reefbum.com, I put in. I got a 187-gallon reef tank plus a 75-gallon frag tank. So I started with 2 tanks. That was one system. Then 4 years ago, I got the Peninsula tank and a 50-gallon frag tank. So that was 4 tanks. Then I had a coral quarantine tank. So I had 5 tanks going at that was the most I had in terms of tanks. And so it but I got rid of and then so I've gotten rid of one of my frag tanks. So now I have 2 display tanks and 2 frag tanks.
So you've always done this totally on your own. You haven't had you didn't employ anyone to help or anything.
I was a one-man show there, Rob.
One-man show.
Always been a one-man show. So I think my journey is like definitely changed in terms of the business and my attitude about it, and my YouTube journey and all that sort of thing. I think when I started YouTube, I was definitely doing a lot of product reviews and doing a lot of videos about the equipment that I was using, and so there was a definite material connection going on there. It was certainly you could probably say it was a bit biased in terms of the stuff that I was doing, because there was connections that I had with these manufacturers. I was selling their stuff, or I would get a deal on some of their stuff and do the video reviews. But I've been just trying to like get away from that sort of thing. And with the live stream, I did have number of different sponsors, and that was really cool. But I really wanted to try to stay away from talking about them and trying to be as more about just being a reef keeper and having
rather
people
than
on
just
to talk about
advertising stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, the advertising and all that stuff was just to help support the work that I was doing. It was a lot of work in terms of the live stream, and and I saw a comment earlier in the chat, and I've heard other comments about the reason why I started Bolus is because
we're getting to that. We're getting to that.
We're getting to that. All right, I won't.
Yeah,
I'll let you guys. I'll let you guys
preempt it.
put that out there.
You've already
build the excitement.
You've already fucked up this paragraph here.
What's that?
Talking about stuff I was going to ask you later.
Oh, all right. I guess I'm kind of like I should just shut up, right? That was like a 30-minute answer to the first question.
I am only joking. Well, kind of.
I want to beat Meckley's 6 hours. No,
be on your own.
I've now rolled on my questions. I can't get them.
I was going to say, is that dramatic throwaways?
What a tit. Anyway. See, going back to your systems and the fact that you've changed systems and you've upgraded and gone bigger and all the rest of it, one of my questions about that was how technology and stuff has changed over the years. You've been a reefer for way longer than I have. And I feel that things, even since I started, which was T5s, nobody kept reef tanks under LEDs, for example. So I've seen that jump, but it must be a huge jump. No offense to your age, but you must have seen technology go crazy now.
Well, by the sounds of it, Keith never used to have electricity. So,
yeah, the sun.
Hamster on a wheel.
The sun was like lighting my tanks. Sorry about that, Tom. Couldn't resist.
It's all right.
But I saw somebody else flip the bird earlier, so I figured that was okay.
I did.
Yeah, you did a double.
Flip the bird. That's such a Top Gun phrase.
Bird.
Flip the bird. Top Gun. Well, what would you blokes call it?
Fingering somebody.
Is that the right terminology? They call you guys?
No,
blokes?
let's move completely on. Move completely on.
Did I just offend you or something?
Well, back to technology. Sorry, it was me with power, electricity.
There is a big language barrier, even though I can understand you most of the time. There is a bit of a language barrier.
Subtle differences.
You know when Mel Gibson painted his face blue and white, ran around in a dress. That's wrong,
Scott.
That's not right.
A dress.
Don't rise to it.
No, I shan't.
No, technology though.
What was the question again? Technology.
Technology.
Yes, tech.
Yeah, I didn't use any controllers or anything. I didn't. No LEDs. I had metal halides. I had a timer. It's like I had a timer to turn my lights on.
Yeah.
But there was I had a pH probe, a temperature probe. What else? That was kind of like about it, in terms of the things that I used in terms of automation and stuff. So yeah, when I got back into the hobby, when I moved up to Vermont here, things definitely changed. I got the the GHL suite of products. So I had a GHL ProFlux controller. I had the KH Director.
How did that come about in your German connection? Because you got Royal Exclusive, GHL, not like that.
Yeah, I just I always believe in like quality in terms of the so I like the German engineering and the quality of the product. So I just I sort of like just gravitated. I got a Royal Exclusive. I have 2 Royal Exclusive Dream boxes for both of my systems.
That's just greedy, isn't it?
Yeah. What did you say?
That's just greedy.
Greedy. Oh, okay, greedy. Yeah, it wasn't cheap, man, to get it to ship to,
No, I bet.
shipped over to me, and so yeah, I had the Royal Exclusive Dream boxes, but I lost my train of thought. What the hell was I saying?
It's just Rob. He does it all the time.
Thank you.
You threw me off, Rob. No, we're talking like technology. Oh, you're the German. Why the German products? Yeah, yes. I just believe in the. I believe in investing in good quality equipment. you get what you pay for. The stuff has lasted me a long time. I mean, I you know, that first dream box, and I got the skimmer, the Royal Exclusives, you know, the skimmer in that dream box, media reactors, pumps, return pumps. They're still working, you know, 10 years later. and the key to me is just to keep up with the maintenance. If you keep up with the regular maintenance, then the shit should last forever. And so that's why Royal Exclusive and GHL are two companies that I believe in, and that's what I use. I mean, that's the whole thing in terms of my reefbum.com, is like I really only sell the stuff from manufacturers that I use and I know about and that I have experiences with, and I think is going to be good for my fellow reef keepers.
Do you drive a German car?
I do not.
Right, okay.
Toyota.
Where the lot. Toyota? Okay. Right.
Japanese car.
I thought you skied everywhere.
What's that?
I thought you skied everywhere.
Everywhere? No. You know, it's just I take a trip out to like Utah, out west, to go skiing. I've been to Colorado years ago, but yeah, I don't jet around skiing. We got pretty good.
Locally,
yeah, I ski kind of like every day locally. Last year I skied 200 days in a row, which is crazy.
Jesus.
What?
Yeah, it's insane, isn't it? People are like saying to me, like, you know, when I stop doing the podcast, they're like, "Oh, you're gonna get a chance to go do more skiing." I was like, "No, I can't top 200 days in a row."
I was gonna say there is no more time. Wow.
I know I am insane. I admit it. I am insane. But I live 5 minutes away from the mountain, so for me, you know, I run out, do a couple of runs, and I'm back in an hour. So it's not like I'm jumping in a car and driving an hour to go skiing.
No,
it's like we've got 3 mountains within 15 minutes of me.
There's a lot of questions, gentlemen, about the B word. We're going to go there before.
About the what? About the B word?
Bolus.
B word.
Is that what this is going to morph into? Bolus bashing session?
Well, before we do, we were talking about Chromis earlier, and there's a bit of chat about Chromis. But Leroy, I've got a shout out to Leroy. What does Keith like black tangs?
That is my favorite fish, but the price of a black tang right now is insane. But I just
mic drop.
Jesus, not another one. That's 2 guests in a row we've had their favourite fish in the black tank.
Who was the other one?
Mo, who was on last week.
Mo Magic was in that last week.
No, I had a black. I think I've only had 1, maybe 2 black tangs, and
why do you not? Sorry, why do you love them so much?
I think it's I think it's really cool that they're completely black. That's but there's other black fish out there, right? I mean, there's domino fish,
domino damsels,
whatever. Yeah. I'm not a big fish. Cheaper. I'm not a big fish person, so I would not be. I'm
gonna leave now, Rob.
Yeah,
I don't know what it is about the black tang. I think it was you know, years and years ago, it was a very expensive fish for me, like $1,000. I think I got one.
It still is.
That was a long time ago. And then, but I wish I could remember the guy's name. He was like working out of his apartment or house, and he had these quarantine fish, and I bought this black tank from him. It might have been like $300-400, which for me, 20 years ago, whatever it was a lot of money. It was a lot of money. That fish developed some sort of fin rot disease, which was just killed me because you know, it was a beautiful fish and I lost a lot of the fins on it. So it kind of like slowly wasted away. I'm not exactly sure what happened. I guess it was the HLLE disease was going on.
Did that for me?
Maybe, maybe. So I don't know what are those things going for these days. It's like a couple of grand or something, right? I mean, US.
Yeah, I think they are a couple of grand, for a black.
So I'm not dropping that kind of dough on a. I'm sorry, man. I'm not doing that.
Let's get a black molly for like.
Yeah. My the fish that I love is I love yellow belly regal angelfish, and I had this I had this Miss Bar yellow belly regal angelfish that oh man, this thing was fucking gorgeous. And I bought it from a hobbyist in New York City. I drove down 5 hours to pick it up, and it was like the perfect size. It was like 2.5 inches or maybe 3 inches or something like that. It had this beautiful like mist bar. It was like a wishbone type of thing going on there. And I put it into the Peninsula tank, and I had it for like 2 or 3 years. I had a big issue with that tank, and there was an overdosing incident where I lost some fish, and the other fish in the tank were in real trouble. Like there was fish jumping out of the tank. It was like just crazy. Seriously, there was like I had a couple green chromas jumping out of the tank, and when I realized what happened, I did some massive water changes, and the Regal was in the tank at that time, and I saved it. I saved all the other fish that hadn't croaked, but I probably lost like at least half of the fish in that tank. I don't know. Wow. So the long and the short of it is a few years later, I did lose that fish, and there was some sort of disease going on in that tank where I lost a bunch of fish. I love the yellow pyramid butterfly fish, and I had a trio of those that I lost. All the tangs in that tank survived, which was pretty cool. So but I would love to get some yellow pyramid butterfly fish again for that tank, and I would love to get a yellow mist bar angel fish again.
Yeah, no, lovely fish.
Yeah,
so they're much better in a black tank.
I ain't laying down that cash for a black tank. I'm telling you, man.
Rob would rather throw a lump of coal in his tank.
Yeah, I'd rather piss in the helicopter. Anyway, is getting the B word straight out there. How was he getting on with Bolus? Keith, any issues with your change from Calc to Bolus?
So
how is the Bolus method working out
week
Keith?
On Bolus? So
what's that, Ron?
Rob started Bolus just last week. So
really?
You guys can cup each other.
Saturday.
Yes.
Writing something down. Just writing a note down here.
Is it a disclaimer?
I'm writing something down before I forget it. Yeah, no, it's I'm taking notes of each one of you guys.
Yeah,
I saw you write 4 letters. I was like,
for my lawyer later on to.
I demand this video be taken off of YouTube.
Yeah.
So how's Bolus going for me? So I guess I'm 3 weeks in. 3.5 weeks into to Bolus. So I did a video on Bolus and why I went into to Bolus, and I know there was like some people like, oh, you're doing it because you're a Fauna Marine ICP test advisor, you sell the Fauna Marine products, you're probably, I don't know, they're assuming that I'm getting that stuff for free or something. I am getting the stuff at a discount because I am a dealer, so I'm getting my dealer discount for the Fauna Marine Bolus stuff that I'm using. But it's costing me more to do Bolus than it is to do the calcium reactor and Kalkwasser. So it's so I wouldn't be making that change. Here's the thing with me. I don't freaking make changes to my tank unless I truly believe it's for the better of my tank. There's no business connection for me. And yeah, all right. So I do Bolus and it works out and everything is great. And I Bolus, and hey, I'm an advisor and I sell the Fauna Marine products. Come join me. Blah blah blah. It's bullshit because I don't make a lot of money doing that stuff. And I don't need to be doing this in terms of reefbum.com and doing YouTube and all that sort of thing. I just don't. I could be fully retired and from the corp. I am retired from the corporate world. That's thank God. Yeah. But I'm doing this to because I love it. I love helping people, and so I don't do things to my tank that are driven monetarily.
Yeah, so it's a reefing
I don't do it. There's no reason for me. I want to have the best in terms of what's best for my animals, the corals.
Now, just explain, how did you transition? Because you had calc and a calcium reactor, or just calc? I can't remember.
calcium reactor and Kalkwasser.
Right.
Yeah.
So did you just go, Bosh, on a Saturday, I'm turning it off.
Yeah.
And then
Yeah.
Sunday morning, I'm doing a bolus. Okay.
There was
and you went straight in, just one big hit with a bolus.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I severely underestimated the bolus dose. Severely.
You underestimated it.
Severely. And for several days, my low point for my alkalinity was 5.6. Wow. It had been running like, I was freaking nervous, man. I was like, holy shit. 5.6.
Rob's been nervous all week.
Yeah, I've also been nervous.
You know, so that I was like an 8.5 or something like that. And then I went down to like 5.6. So can I screen share? I mean, I could show you like some charts and whatnot. Fuck it.
I don't know.
You don't know.
I don't know if you can screen share. I don't know.
Yeah, just try it and go for it.
I don't even know how to do it. Does it say screen share?
Have you got present at the bottom of your screen? Can you see present?
Yeah.
Right, that should be it then.
It's not a present.
Hold it. I was under the impression that I was going to get a
big kickback. Yeah, you might get a t-shirt.
What's that?
You might get a t-shirt.
Yeah, you guys were supposed to send me a shirt or something. What happened?
Speak to fucking Onion Man. Onion Man, what happened?
Yeah.
Who's the Onion Man?
There in denial.
We just turned these back there. Did you see that?
I'm getting into my GHL here, so let me see if I can connect, and I could actually show you guys.
So when you did your first bolus, you were just guessing what you thought your
what you're doing is you're trying to figure out how much DKH your system is using in a day.
Yeah, in a day. Yeah.
So like a very heavily stocked SPS dominant tank would probably be using 3 to 4 DKH a day. An average tank would be using 2 to 3 DKH a day. A lightly stocked tank maybe 1 to 2 or 1. That's the sort of like guidelines. But the other thing that comes into play is the precipitation. So the reasons why I did bolus is because I was making some observations with my tank. I had Claude and Doug on my my live streams. We talked, I interviewed those guys and we talked a lot about bolus, and so it just made listening to those guys and what they had to say, a lot of the things that they were talking about in terms of using Kalkwasser with a tank for a long period of time. There's certain things that potentially can happen, and so I know there's a big debate in the hobby about that in terms of how can Kalkwasser cause old tank syndrome? That's bullshit. That sort of thing. And look at all these amazing tanks that have been using Kalkwasser and calcium reactors for years, and there's no signs of all this stuff. But so what Claude and Doug had been talking about is that there are certain things that and the chemistry stuff. I don't fully grasp all the chemistry behind it. Those guys are the experts in terms of the chemistry behind it, in terms of why potentially there can be these precipitations caused by Kalkwasser. So my Peninsula tank, and even my other system has been experiencing symptoms of what they were talking about. Drop in pH. The pH goes down, and you crank up the Kalkwasser, and it's kind of like this vicious cycle in terms of like it's a circle, right? You're just dumping more Kalkwasser in the tank. So I did notice like my tank had been like Peninsula tank had been in the 8.2 to 8.5 pH range, low to high, and it had dipped to 8.0 to 8.1. So I definitely noticed a drop in the pH. Precipitations, and I was running high calcium. So my calcium was pushing 500, 470, 480. So it was way up there. And according to those guys, if your calcium is running a lot over 440, that's a way that could cause those precipitations. So by using the Kalkwasser and the calcium reactor, I really didn't have a lot of control in terms of my calcium levels. Yeah, I guess I could dial back the Kalkwasser and try to tweak the calcium reactor, but it's tough, right? I mean, if you guys have run Kalkwasser and calcium reactors, it's tough to control that calcium level.
Yeah.
So that was going on in my tank. Another sign of the precipitations, if you've got a lot of precipitations in the tank due to this stuff, is you're consuming a lot of trace elements. So I've been dosing a lot of fluoride, dosing a lot of phosphate, dosing a lot of the trace metals. So, again, that was another thing that, in terms of the potential of having these precipitations, that was another thing that I was noticing with my system. And with these precipitations, they're like a petri dish for bacteria and for other microorganisms, and they create this like kind of reef funk stuff. And so if you see like a fuzziness on your rocks or your substrate, then that's like one sign that you've got these precipitations that are going on. And so they're like a magnet. And they just kind of can create a lot of different types of algae, and so I've that's another thing that I've had in the system and in the frag tank that's plumbed into it. I've had kind of like that reef funk that's been going on. So that's the reason why I decided to kind of kick the tires on Bolus, is because I was noticing things in my system, and there's a few corals that were not looking great, they were not looking happy. So I thought it was worth the risk in terms of switching off of Kalkwasser and the calcium reactor. And listen, I mean, I had awesome success with Kalkwasser and the calcium reactor. I mean, I grew the shit out of corals. Everything is, looked great. And so it was not an easy decision for me to get off of that and try something completely different. So it was a big leap of faith, and I was definitely nervous. I'm still nervous about it. Since I changed to Bolus, like I said, my alkalinity had cratered several days to like down to the 5.6 range. I'm still getting swings of 2 DKH a day. My high is like maybe 8.5, and my low is 6.7. 6.5 or something.
And your corals are totally fine.
Corals are looking good. So I think one.
What about your pH? What's that doing?
pH
swinging on?
pH is swinging. So I've got a more elevated pH than I had before. So I said it was like an 8.0 to 8.1 pH before Bolus. Now I'm up to like 8.3, 8.4. It has dropped down to like 7.9 during the night, but I just recalibrated my my pH probe, and it seems like now the low is 8.1. And my KH director is acting up on me now, so now I'm kind of flying blind, and I need a new motherboard for my KH director, which is over 4 years old, and I don't know. I think that kind of sucks because I've been doing DKH measurements hourly.
Wow.
Let me see. None. Can I do the? Let me see if I got my. Okay, I've got.
No.
Let me do a screen share here. Present.
Can we annotate on the screen share?
Share screen.
Oh, no, don't think so.
GHL Connect. Share.
Oh.
Can you guys see that?
There you go.
Good.
So you
Didn't even know you could do this.
You see what my reading is right now? My DKH.
Yeah. I mean, hoping that's not
0.6.
I'm hoping that's not right.
So right now I am flying fucking blind.
Oh, that's annoying, isn't it?
pH is 8.48. So
wow.
All right, let's click on to the DKH and I'll go into the history before things went. I basically recalibrated my pH probe from my KH director yesterday, and things kind of went, as you could see, fell off the table. Well, things got really wacky here. But
yeah, but yeah, the very short phase where it looks decent.
Yeah. So yeah, this is like when all the craziness started in terms of the cage director, but this was before that, and so this is at a high 8.8, drops down to 6.9, high 8.7, drops down to 6.8. So it's pretty pretty
what
good
time
swings.
in that where's the bolus going in on this graph?
Right.
Get there.
9:30, right before there.
Right. Okay.
Let's see if I can go even further back, or maybe even go back a month. Is this interesting to you guys, or do you not?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What do viewers think? I'm not watching the comments.
Oh.
Well, Amanda Meckley said bullshit.
What did she say?
Bullshit. Sorry, let me just clear that up. Bullshit, winky face. So kind of angry, semi-aggressive comment, but I'm only kind of kidding.
All right, so here's this is prior to Bolus, and then I had some more issues with my cage director and all that stuff. But so this is kind of like when I started Bolus, and that's when things cratered down.
Trended down pretty quick, yeah.
That's when I severely underestimated my my Bolus dose.
This is like your Christmas gift to yourself.
Yeah, and the reason why I was kudos to Doug Dorrant, because he's been my Bolus concierge, man. He's been very helpful to me and walking me through all this stuff. But what he basically is saying to me is that the reason why and my Bolus dose in terms of the alkalinity dose that I'm putting in, my high was 800. I'm almost up to like 800 mLs a day for a 350 gallon.
How much you're putting in?
350 gallon system. I'm dumping in almost 800 mLs a day, and that's a lot. And the reason why
all in one hit,
all at once.
That must seem insane for that. What?
Yeah, 800 mLs of the alkalinity.
What time period? Sorry, Keith. What's that, like 10 minutes, 20 minutes?
20 minute period.
20 minute. Right,
20 minute period. So it starts at 9:30 and it probably finishes it up at 9:50 or something.
Right. Wow.
And so the rationale that I've been given is that I do have a lot of corals in that system. And but it's the precipitations that what I've been told is that there's a lot of the precipitations are really absorbing a lot of the alkalinity. I also have this algae in the system called Lobophora, I believe is what it's called. And so I don't know if you guys ever seen that algae, but it coats rocks in the substrate in my the bottom of my glass tank. And
is that the really dark black sort of dark green stuff? Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. So I just got a nasotang in, and he is starting to pick at it. And so that I think is also a reason why I'm getting a lot of precipitation, a lot of things are getting absorbed by that algae, and so that I need to rectify that situation. But so Doug is saying to me that he thinks that my bolus dose after this initial, I think it takes like 4 to 6 weeks to really for the bolus to kind of kick in to kind of get through that.
Did you start at 800 mil and then you just kept it there?
I started at like 350 mLs.
Right.
And that's why it was so low.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, okay.
So, I think the reason why I'm doing such a huge bolus doses, I got a lot of coral growth in there. But I also have this algae that is not helping the situation. And here's my pH. I could show you the pH history if this cooperates.
I mean, the pH looks good.
Yeah, it definitely got bumped up a little bit. I think it's going to crap out on me.
Just listening to Tom drink his beer.
Guzzling.
I thought that was somebody breathing heavily.
Yeah. I'm trying to deal with the fact that my ATO ran out. while Keith was talking.
You're
I
filling
meant
it
to
with
top
beer.
it up.
I was going to say filling it with lager.
I might fill it with lager live. Madrid.
Is that what you guys drink?
Seeing it here.
Lagers?
Seeing it here.
Tom does.
You guys like warm beer too, right?
Oh God, no.
Cold beer.
Well, why was like when I visited like the UK, went to all these different pubs. First of all, they closed like at like what 10 o'clock at night or something.
What?
Second of all, they serve like this warm beer, and I could never get over that.
Where did you go, Keith? Can
I
you
was going to
remember?
say, where was you?
I don't know.
You don't want to come
So
back. Clearly.
this is the pH
memorable,
chart
man.
right here, and so this was like prior to Bolus, so you could see 7.9,
7.9,
7.981 or something like that. So that was like the prior to Bolus, and then I started Bolus here, and then it's slowly been going up, 8.3, but I'm still getting a big swing down to 7.9. Then I did a recent recalibration of my pH probe yesterday. So now I'm up to 8.5 and a low of 8.2, which is nice.
Yeah, it's nice. Yeah,
So and let me stop the screen and I'll show you the tank actually, because I got a live webcam on the tank.
yes.
And I think I could. I've got one person watching it right now. No,
That's you, Keith.
I don't know, man. Nobody wants to watch my. I got 2 live webcams in my 2 display tanks, and they don't get a lot of people watching for some reason. Let's see here if I present, share screen. You see that?
Nope. Oh, here we go.
There we go.
Ooh.
That's live, is it?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it looks cool.
So do you never worry, Keith, that you'll walk in there in your pants? Sorry.
Yeah.
Undergarments. Forget that the webcam's on. Scratch your arse.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
A giant fart.
No. You only get that if you pay for the subscription.
Oh,
All right.
Like,
So
Yes,
that's the paywall version.
You have to pay for that.
That's the premium.
That's it. Yeah.
That's the Patreon. Patreons only get
yeah.
that
that's
view.
The camera has a little speaker in it, and I can go, right, shake it, Keith.
That's it.
I don't really think you want to pay for that, dude.
No?
Someone will, believe me.
Oh, yeah.
Oh dear.
Oh man. What else you got?
Well, there was Bolus. I mean, Rob, is there anything else you want to talk about with Bolus?
So you've been into it for a week?
I started last Saturday. Yeah.
Why did you switch?
I just wanted the simplest.
Because you get free bottom marine products?
No, do I fuck? No, I'm not using their product. But one lot of people would say I was just like fucking around with my tank, which is probably true, to be honest. But I just, because I was using calcium reactor and sodium hydroxide to just kind of and balance them all out. It was just a pain in the ass. And when I go away and I leave the tank for someone else to look after, I've got a calc stirrer and it only lasts sort of 4 days and it has to be constantly topped up, and just asking people to do it is a pain. So I was just looking for something that was simpler, free up some plug sockets, get some kit offline. The calcium reactor line blocked and it blew the peri pump and it pissed water all over this. It's just things. Just I thought less kit, just more stuff to go wrong. So,
I do like the fact that I don't have to worry about the topping off the caulk washer. I don't have to worry about the dosing pump that I have for my calcium reactor.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I was exactly the same.
Don't have to worry about the what do you call it for the carbon dioxide? What's that thing?
Yeah, the CO2 and the regulator.
CO2, the regulator.
Yeah, double counter, all that shit.
I just had my other system, which I have caulk washer and caulk washer going. I got a problem with my CO2 regulator. It stopped working, reliably. So, for me, if this experiment goes well with my Peninsula tank, I'm going to do it for my other system.
Yeah.
It
is quite bum squeaky time when you first do that when you first dump all that alk in, you just get shit.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's not been.
I see a question: is my calcium within range now? Also, is your pH higher than what? Don't call.
Oh, there's a question up before that, but I need to put an effect in my voice to ask it.
Keith, is your calcium? Okay, that's what I just read. Yeah. My calcium. So now, my calcium was very high before bolus. It was like close to 500, and then it dropped down to 380, 390, or 400, which is good. I'm trying to like keep it like around 410. So that's good. I mean, that's a good thing. It's like you got a lot of control because it's a 3-part dosing thing. You're dosing the alkalinity, you're dosing the calcium, you're dosing the magnesium, and so it gives you a lot of control.
Your pH will go too high? Do you think that's possible?
What? I didn't hear the question.
Do you think your pH could get too high? What, is there a point where you'll go, I'm getting uncomfortable with it? You think at some point it's just going to?
I don't know. I mean, I think anytime it goes over 8.5, it makes me uncomfortable. In my other system, it was like it's been hitting 8.6, and so I dialed back my Kalkwasser.
Wow. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, but the other thing with bolus is that you've got the trace elements. There's multiple trace elements that you put into the alkalinity dose as well as the calcium dose, and so I've been doing weekly ICPs with Fauna Marine, and I've gotten back the pre ICP test, and I just got back the first post ICP test, which was a week after I started bolus, and so there's a few of my traces that did drop that I'm going to need to elevate more because of what's going on with the dynamics of the tank, and then I'm waiting. Well, I'm waiting to make those corrections until I get back the second week after bolus, which should be hopefully today. And
so did you also do the light ramp? Did you do the 20% increase? You did that?
No, I can't. I couldn't figure out how to do that with my GHL Mitras, my lights. So yeah, I mean, I did. So the other thing with bolus is that you basically go full bore. You don't do a ramp up period right after the bolus. You go right into the full thing, and but you're supposed to go 20% higher for the first initial stage of that, but I didn't know how to do that with the Mitras. I probably should have reached out to Vinny at GHL to see if that was doable, but it looked like it was not doable. So I couldn't go above the 100% intensity on the Mitras. But
so you just changed the ramp time, basically. You just
I used to have a 2-hour ramp up period. My lights would go on at 10 a.m. and then they would ramp up fully at 12 noon.
Right.
And then, who's got a dog bark?
Dog attack. That's me shopping man being attacked by the dog.
So there's no ramp up period.
Right. So just on boss 100%.
Boom. Yeah.
About 10 o'clock.
Boom. And then, and so I was advised to, so I have a 2-hour ramp down period. So I was advised to do a 4-hour ramp down period because I was.
So it's the same sort of percentage of light hitting your corals. You front ended it, so to speak, or front loaded it.
After a couple of days, I ended up going back to the 2-hour ramp down period and not the 4-hour ramp down because my pH was dropping more than I wanted it to.
Okay, right. And then do you dose is it the halogens before your lights come on as well? Is that what they advise?
Yeah, so you're dosing the halogens in the is it the alkalinity the traces that go into the alkalinity, and then there's another set of traces that go into the calcium dose. So I had been doing the Captivate aquaculture trace element dosing. So I stopped that and I leaned on, I just basically took that leap of faith that everything would be okay with the Fauna Marine trace elements going into the alkalinity dose as well as the trace elements going to the calcium dose. But I am going to go back to the Captivate aquaculture for the traces that I'm deficient in.
Right.
So I will keep dosing the Captivate aquaculture trace elements that I'm deficient in right now, which I dropped a lot in fluoride. I dropped a little bit in iodine. So those are the 2 halogens. My bromide had always been very high. and that's something that I heard that is common if you're using kalkwasser is to have high bromine. Did you have high bromine?
Yeah, my bromine is well, I wouldn't say high, but it's always there at a good level. But my iodine's always high as well. But I think that's because I feed lots of nori, because nori's quite high.
Right, nori. I feed a lot of nori too. So yeah,
it's pretty good for iodine.
I'm just going to jump into the comments, kids.
And you know the fuzz you were talking about.
Did you have that?
I've got it. I've got patches of it. I've noticed, just like a little furry fuzz. Yeah, Ron.
We're laughing at you.
That's funny, Ron. Ron, that's funny.
I'm sorry, Keith. I think you're struggling to understand my accent. I'm making no sense to you, and I apologise.
Yeah. So, have you noticed that reducing, or is it the same, or did you clean it off the rock, or did you do anything with it?
I got that low before algae that's kind of making it hard to go away. So I'm still seeing it. I'm hoping that nasal tang I put in is going to really tackle it, because I try to like manually remove that stuff and it's a pain in the ass because it grows back kind of fast. So that kind of sucks. But as you can see from the live stream though that I showed, the live cam, the tank is, the corals look great and the tanks are great. So it's just kind of like, me, I notice that shit in terms of
because you wouldn't see that on that camera, would you really?
No.
So have you guys finished talking Bolus?
It's me and Ron are about to go to the pub and drink some warm beer.
No,
I don't know what it was. Is that a thing in terms of those pubs of warm beer?
You have to go. It shuts in half an hour.
Oh shit! Yeah, sorry.
No, seriously. Why did I find warm beer when I came?
We don't know.
UK?
We don't know.
Ale.
That was like 40 years.
If it was yellow, if it was yellow and warm, I would be careful. Is all I'm saying.
40 years ago.
This is England. Keith, Critical Reef is asking you, what size tank would be your dream tank?
I got my dream tank right now, man. 225-gallon Peninsula tank. I love that tank. It's got great dimensions.
Here's to that.
I don't want to go any bigger, man. I don't want to have to deal with that. I think it's kind of I'm good. I mean, I love the 6 foot long by 3 foot wide by 20 inches tall Peninsula tank that I have. I think it's dead on for me, like a perfect tank. I love the 20 inches tall. I used to have, all my tanks in the past had been like 24 inches tall. And, it's cool if you like a lot of fish swimming through there, I guess, and you want to put together one of those, what do they call it? Negative space aquascapes, where you do all the funky stuff and all that stuff. The 20 inches tall for me. I put live rock in that tank, and it's a perfect height. You can stack 2 layers of live rock, and that fills up half the tank.
Well, that leads me on to the next question from Ian. You were going to say, sorry, do you regret the height of the tank with acros growing out too quickly?
No, because I got in that particular tank, I've got a shit ton of flow, and all the acros kind of like table out. And I love that effect. I just love that to see a lot of tabling, acros. To me, it looks a very natural type of ocean reef.
Yeah.
So I had a hard time growing table acros for many years, and now it's like, not a problem.
There was a question earlier from John Wright for you, Keith, on the subject of making your own foods. He was just wondering if you could explain what you think the benefits of making your own is.
Making my own food?
Well, if I remember, you did a video which I followed.
Tacos and sandwiches. Oh, you mean for the fish and corals?
Yeah.
So,
I tweaked the recipe based on Dong Zo. Have you guys ever seen one of my lives with Dong Zo?
Yes.
The best live streams you've ever done.
He is the best.
He is entertaining.
He is awesome.
Is he the excitable gentleman?
You got to get Dong on your stream, man.
He more Dong.
Yes. Absolutely.
On the Dong.
he is like a reef keeping god. But so I tweaked my recipe because Dong's like a PhD. He's a really smart guy. He did coral. What's that?
So they're not all like that, those PhDs.
Pretty huge dong. Is that what that stands for?
Watch it, Ron.
Sorry.
Keith, when these two start...
He's a buddy of mine, Ron. Don't don't pick on Dong.
I love dong. Save that, Steve. Have that on your soundboard.
That's yeah. You're teeing yourself up for something bad there,
That'll be coming back. Literally.
So what was I going to say? Oh, so I tweaked my recipe. Dong basically said that salmon, he uses pretty much salmon, and that's because it's got those omega 3s in it. Yeah. And he thinks that the salmon is like the best thing for fishing. Well, for corals, that's what the corals would really take in.
Nice.
And so he's like salmon, use salmon, and whatever else you feel like makes you happy to add, whether that's shrimp or clams or other types of seafood. So I my tweaked recipe is probably like 2/3 salmon, and then the rest is shrimp, scallops, some other white meat fish, some reefroids, and I think some garlic powder, some Vitachem. I got the recipe in that video, the rest of it. So yeah, that's and basically I have a meat grinder, so I put it through the meat grinder. You can use a food processor too. I put nori in there, and make this big frickin' bowl of it. And I got usually it's a gigantic mess in the kitchen. My wife hates me, and I freeze it up. Put it into these little trays so you can kind of make your own cubes. It's awesome. And
is that's for corals or fish and corals?
Fish and corals. Yeah.
Okay.
So homemade food. So it's kind of like, I don't know exactly what goes into. There's a thing called Rod's Food here. Have you guys heard of Rod's Food?
Yeah, I've heard of it. Yeah.
But the key is to soak all those ingredients that I talked about. All the salmon and all that stuff in RODI water, because you want to be able to get as much of the phosphate out as possible. You don't want to have a
so you soak it and drain it before you
soak it and drain it. Yep, in water, and so that kind of gets the phosphates out. And yeah, it's cheap, man. I mean, it's a lot cheaper than buying. I used to buy the I guess San Francisco Bay Area or San Francisco, the cubes, the Mises cubes, the
they do add up, don't they?
Mises cubes, the brine shrimp cubes, and all that stuff, and it gets expensive. So if you can make the food yourself, then
how close is your LFS, Keith? How far do you have to travel to get to one?
Can you ski to it?
I can't ski to it.
He is the LFS. They come to him.
Yeah, there's there's a guy in Vermont. It's maybe like 45 minutes away from me, but he's not always around, and so I don't really go to him. I'll
Is it a shithole?
I was going to say that's a ringing endorsement, Keith. It's just like it's 45 minutes, but he's.
I want to be kind to that business owner, so
I'm going to say it live.
I'm not going to.
We have a term on the REEFIE AF Discord, and it's called a moldy fuck bunker.
Say that again.
Moldy fuck bunker.
Moldy fuck bunker.
We have stickers. I'll send you some. Along with your T-shirt.
Put them on his door when you go there.
Well, the plan for these stickers were it was supposed to be a Michelin star for bad LFSs. So if you went to a shop and it was absolutely, let's say the animals are not even particularly well looked after, as you were leaving, you would slap this sticker on the door and it says moldy fuck bunker.
So to answer the original question, is there a local fish store that I've got a lot of my corals from Dong. So he's like 3 hours, 15 minutes away from me. So I haven't been to his place in a long time, but if anybody's ever in the Boston area, I would highly recommend going to visit him because it's an amazing, if you're
Acro Garden, it's called.
Acro Garden. If you're a stickhead, Dong is a man to see about that. So, a lot of my corals originated from him, and I get all my fish online. I don't really have a need for a local fish store, but it would be nice to have a local fish store. I mean, what's a local fish store scene like in your neck of the woods? You guys have a lot of decent ones, or
depends where you live, I think, really.
Yeah.
Down south, I've got.
If you've got money, you're all right. If you ain't got any money, you are screwed.
That's just life.
Oh, really?
That's just life, Tom.
He says with a 20-year-old Merlot.
Yeah, there used to be. I mean, I used to, when I used to live in Connecticut and Westchester, near New York City, there was like some real kick-ass local fish stores, but expensive. There was one still around, I think, called Greenwich Aquarium, and that's in Greenwich, Connecticut. They had, great selection of fish. They've got, I don't know what the deal is now in terms of corals and all that stuff, but super, super expensive because it's a very expensive area to live in. And then there was another place called Greenwich Aquarium. I don't know if they're still around or not. They're also in the Greenwich Cobb area. So when I was living in that area, I would always go to those places and check them out. And the guy that really inspired me, which I probably should have talked about when you guys were asking me how I got into the hobby, was local fish store called Reefing Fin, and that was in Stamford, Connecticut. And he had the touch with Acropore and SPS, and that's kind of like how I got turned on to the whole SPS thing. Was this guy Chris Jensen? He had a 120-gallon in-wall tank, so that's why I got a 120 in-wall. 120 gallon in-wall tank. I was like, I want to replicate what this dude is doing. So he was the one that really kind of, in terms of local fish stores, inspired me.
Tom did with that cow pat he's got behind him. He was walking the dog and went, I want that in my tank.
Cow pat? Did you just call it a cow pat?
Well, I'm sorry, Rob.
What the hell is that term? What do you call it?
A cow pat. It's like a cow. It's a cow shit, basically.
A cow shit?
Yeah, like a patty.
Okay.
Yeah.
That
ironing.
All right, whatever.
Yeah. See what's in that tank? That's what it looked like, Keith. The cow came into his room and took a shit in the tank. That's the result of it.
Anyway,
so you guys got high nutrients.
Thank you. Can I jump into the comments just to ask some questions to Keith, please?
Nah.
So, Lee wanted to ask you, Keith, how do you rate your JHL mitras less compared to the halides you used to run?
I would never go back to halides. I had the best coral growth and coloration with the GHL mitras.
Perfect.
Interesting. Somebody said not that long ago that it's halides or nothing.
Well, I know Meckleys are probably watching or were watching or something like that, but that's a commercial operation. That's a whole different kettle of fish.
Immers would like to know, what is Keith's best-selling frag?
Well, since I stopped selling frags, when I was selling them, I was selling at one point the Tyree Purple Monster.
That's your nemesis, isn't it, Keith?
That's my nemesis.
I can still see some of these on screen on your site.
Website.
Yeah.
I sell, I basically what I say is like, if you want to pick up locally here in Vermont, but nobody ever fucking comes to Vermont because it's like too far away from everybody.
Right. Yeah.
So I went to a local frags with the Boston Reefer Society, and I love those guys. I'm a part of the club. That's a local reefing club. So they had a frag swap back in November, and so I was a vendor at that frag swap, and I think I had the biggest. I didn't have frags, man. I had like colonies. I brought, because I stopped selling frags like back in the springtime. So I had these gigantic Yeah, frags and stuff. So that's why my online store is still there, is because, hey, if you want to come local pickup, then have at it.
Yeah.
Right.
Every now and then somebody does order a frag and expects it to be shipped. And I'm like, well, if you read what it says underneath the price of each frag, that's not going to be happening.
So which tended to be the most popular then?
So yeah, when I was selling the Tyree Purple Monster was definitely a very popular one. The what else? Yes, the Palmer's Blue Millie. That's a very popular one that you can see is out of stock. The TSA Princess Peach was another very popular one. I also had people that were that's a kick-ass coral. Then Oregon Blue Tort, very popular. Cali Tort, very popular. I had a lot of demand for the Tyree. There's some ACI corals in there.
Yeah.
Yeah, you just scroll up there, you can see the ACI Crimson.
Yeah, it's beautiful, that.
And the ACI Pink Panther. That's one I sent back to Chris. He lost his Pink Panther, I guess, on one of the power outages due to the one of the hurricanes.
Wow.
And
so yeah, a coral. I sell a coral very like that. It's called sugar tits.
Sugar tits.
Sugar tits.
Yeah.
Is that politically correct, Ron?
Well, I mean, it's sweet tits, sugar tits.
It's past 9 o'clock, so whatever. As long as you don't.
You better watch it, man. You guys are gonna get slapped with copyright strike by YouTube. Yeah. Keep going down that road.
Believe me, sugar tits is one of these more politically correct coral names. Believe me.
Yeah,
it's one of the tamer ones.
Wakefield Reef is what was the most expensive one? Yeah, the Tyree Purple Monster was the most expensive. I think I sold a couple for $600.
What?
Yeah.
Wow.
Whoa.
Yeah.
That's hefty.
But there's like maybe a half-inch, 3/4 inch frag. It's a very tough coral. What's that?
Is it a slow grower or just difficult?
It's an extremely slow grower, which makes it a tough coral to keep because over time a lot of things can happen to it. Yeah. I lost. I had a purple monster colony in one of my frag grow out tanks. I lost it, and I also lost a couple other frags that I had banked. So now I only have. I probably had like that mini colony, as well as 4 other frags, and I lost all of those. So now I have basically one small colony in my peninsula tank, which is maybe 2 inches long, and then another 1.5 inch frag in the frag tank that's plumbed into that system. So I only have 2 pieces of that left, and I don't have any frags in my backup system right now, which is a little bit of a concern. But it's a coral that, at least here in the U.S., that it's not easy to find at all. There's a lot of I think there's a lot of frags out there that people pawn off as the original Tyree Purple Monster. So now they are importing them from the Solomon Islands again. There is a Purple Monster. There are Purple Monster frags being imported from the Solomon Islands, and I don't think they could prove that it's the same lineage. Yeah. You got to do a DNA test to the original Tyree Purple Monster versus what they're currently exporting. So I know some folks have been bringing those in. I don't know how they're doing. I mean, I heard of one that got brought in. A hobbyist bought it, well-known hobbyist, and it didn't make it.
Right.
Before we move on to another question, Keith, in terms of naming corals, have you named any yourself? What's your favourite? Where do you get your inspiration? Is there a particular knack to naming a coral?
Keith?
Nah, what was that, Ron?
Keith Meat Hammer.
Oh, you got a little dirty mouth there, huh, Ron?
that needs recording for someone's soundbox. That is perfect. You've got a dirty mouth there, Ron.
Brilliant. I do.
Gotta have that mouth washed out with soap.
Yeah. I'm just getting started.
I'm not. You're just getting started. I'm not good at naming corals. I named a few, but not a lot. So I'm pretty lame at that. I don't like the coral name game. I think that I think the price of corals should essentially be dictated by the how difficult they are to keep and how easy they are to obtain. So I think I could justify the high price on the Tyree Purple Monster because it's a very, very, very hard coral to find. It's a very rare coral, and it's very hard to keep. But, for the chop shops out there that are taking these corals that are coming in and they're putting in some crazy, name like a Walt Disney name on it or something like that. It's the same coral that's just getting renamed. And it's just, they're monetizing it, and they're just trying to take advantage of the of some sort of marketing hype. I'm not a fan of that, and it's pretty prevalent in the hobby, unfortunately.
I totally agree with you. Totally agree. Right, can I take it in a slightly different direction? Because I wanted to ask this one personally, and it was about your podcasting. So what motivated you from being a hobbyist and a reef tank owner, a good one? What motivated you to start doing a podcast? What made you think, I'm going to stick headphones on, sit in front of a microphone and start creating content?
That was a financial, I did it financially because I wanted to increase the awareness of the website and selling frags online. So that was a marketing thing for me.
It worked.
And
he worked in marketing.
I didn't realize it would just keep going and going and going and going. I mean, 200 plus episodes, 4.5 years. Like, what the fuck, man? It's like, it's enough already.
No, it's not.
That's a good run. And a lot of effort.
So that, I was trying to increase the visibility of my brand.
Well done.
But I came up with the name Rapping with Reef Bum. I was like, that's a damn good name. I gotta do something with that. That was like, I was like, man, I gotta do a live stream or a podcast. And I've never done that sort of thing before. So I mean, I was in the media business and I was working for CNN on the advertising part of the business. I mean, I had a sports radio show when I was in college, but I'm not, a kind of person that really gravitates to a microphone and wants to be seen and heard. That's not really who I had been. But I mean, listen, I had a lot of fun doing it. I had a lot of people that just were awesome in terms of the comments and the feedback that they provided about it, and how they enjoyed it so much and thought it was a great resource of knowledge because of the people. It was all about the guests that I had on. I was always trying to get the high profile reefers and try to promote the learning aspect of the hobby.
You never had me on, Keith.
I was going to say that's what we tried doing, but
I would have gotten kicked off.
Was busy.
I would have gotten kicked off of YouTube, Ron, for crying out loud.
Yeah. Give me your potty mouth.
I would have been
potty mouth.
I would have been
Alex Correa. What's happening there, Alex Correa?
I just read that comment. I said slightly derogatory, I think. You read that, Tom?
Oh.
It's like,
it's the word again.
These guys from England, again.
It's an English fucking channel, Alex.
Why did you guys start this channel? Why are you doing these live streams?
Boredom.
Tom told us to.
What was that, Rob?
Tom just told us to, and we just do what he says, basically.
Well, Rob has his own YouTube channel. I've got my own Discord, and we do meetups and tank tours and stuff on there. So Tom got in touch. I can't. I'll be honest. How the fuck do I know you, Tom? What's the actual story?
We were in the same pub at the same time, drinking warm beer. I think that's how it all started.
Yeah.
And then Rob.
This is a warm beer now.
Then
Rob, I landed out back.
Rob took us home in his helicopter.
In his chopper.
That's how we got talking. Anyway.
What's up? I got to say hello to Greg Carroll too, man.
Yeah. Hey, Greg.
Yes.
Oh, and do you have a favorite episode or guest you had on, Keith?
I have to say Jake Adams was well, I think my favorite episode was when I had Jake Adams and Chris Meckley on at the same time. It was like it was just cool to be a fly on the wall for that episode.
It's an easy episode. You just got to sit there.
I couldn't get a word in edgewise.
Yeah.
No, I Chris Meckley was one of my favorite, if not the favorite guest. Dong was up there as well. I mean, I think I had Meckley and Dong on twice a year, and those were the only. Well, then I had Mike Paletta on a couple of times a year. Mike is awesome. Sanjay, and
I like those two.
Claude Schumacher. I always learned a lot from. So I think all the people that I had on, I just try to learn a lot. Greg Carroll I had on like once a year. Alex was on a couple of times. Yeah, it was cool. It was a lot of fun. So I learned a lot. I definitely tried a few things that my guests were doing in terms of methods. Sometimes that would work out. Sometimes it did not work out. I mean, that's how I got into the whole Kalkwasser calcium reactor. I mean, I used to do that years and years ago, but Meckley turned me on to the Kalkwasser, the Chris Meckley method, and things just took off big time. When I employed that. So I learned a lot from my guests, and it's I think anytime that you can kind of like have some fun and connect with people on a platform like this and help other people.
That's pretty much
learn. That's what it's all about.
That's why we're here.
That's why we're doing the network. That's pretty much what happened. Exactly that. That's the brainchild behind it. We're 6 months in, but hopefully 6 months further down the line, another year, who knows? But yeah.
So you guys do like 2 live streams a week or something?
Mm-hmm.
I've been known to do 4.
4.
Not out of choice. Not out of choice.
Oh, he says that.
There's a big appetite for it. I think sometimes we try. I talked about this on Wednesday with Steve, East Coast Reefer, and sometimes you try and organize it so well so you've got content and you've got subjects to talk about. But do you know the best ones? The ones that you don't have anything, you just literally just free roll, just talk and chat, and who knows where it goes.
Yeah.
They seem to be the best ones in the UK. We are seeing slow signs, I think, of things getting a bit better in terms of shops opening and the hobby. But it's just the social aspect. People need that social interaction, and unfortunately, they don't get it as often as some people don't get it as often as they used to because of shops closing down. So they use these online platforms, like you're saying, to talk to each other. So we just want to involve more people with different, experiences and across the world, like yourself and Greg's being on. And Greg, if you're listening, it'd be great to get you back on again at some point this year. Thank you very much, Sam Parker, and just grow the channel organically because we're all learning. No matter how long you've been in the hobby, there's always something you're going to learn. So
yeah. I want to say hello to Luis. I am going to be at Reef Stock this year. So can I order enough tequila? Man, that shit's deadly. I'm a beer drinker.
Who's that? Sorry, who are you shouting out to?
Reef Exotico by Luis Aceves. That's how we pronounce his last name.
Oh, right. Okay.
There you go. Yeah. You guys have shows that you attend?
Well, they just started last year.
What do you mean?
Well, that's the first one.
Really? In the UK, you never had frag swaps or conferences?
Small ones.
There used to be a few meets on Ultimate Reef, didn't there? They used to organise a few when I first got
there.
there.
That's the best thing, man, is to have, well,
definitely.
I used to love being part of, local frag swaps and being part of like reef clubs. I mean, mentioned Boston Reefers Society, and I think the first club I was part of was Manhattan Reefers Society in New York City, and we used to go to these frag swaps and actually take frags and swap them, not pay money. So,
Reefers code.
The Reefers code, So that's cool because you're connecting with people and building relationships, and it's all like-minded people. What are you laughing at, Ron?
Just Rob.
Chop me your fists.
What's that?
Rob was typing on his keyboard there, and it sounded like fucking thunder.
Sorry, it's just so I was beating it with my fist.
Sorry, Keith.
So I think the online stuff is great. We all learn and all that sort of thing. I'm not a big forum guy in terms of going on to the online discussion boards, and I think stuff just gets nasty. Like all the Bolus shit that I'm seeing on the online forums, and people are like just going off the deep end. It's like, relax a little bit. You know what? This is all reef keeping. There's many different methods and many different ways for things to work.
Yeah.
So just relax and enjoy the hobby, and try to minimize the hate and stop going after people and trying to make them like look stupid. It's bullshit. I don't like it. You're not going to say that shit to somebody in person. It's just not going to happen. No, if you got the balls to say it on an online forum, then you should have the balls to say it to somebody's face. Let's be real.
That's why I started my Discord, Keith. We have a simple rule, which is all assholes are not allowed, and it's one strike, and you're
one's there on his own.
Hey, 128 people.
Really?
128. Wow. I did ask Keith if he wanted.
What's that?
Join.
You were asked Keith, are you?
I did ask Keith months ago, and he was like, "Nah."
Keith should do you a tank tour, Ron.
Well, I asked Keith, and do you know what Keith's reply was via email? It was very polite, but he said, well, you can see my tank on YouTube. I was like, okay then.
What was this?
I emailed you to ask if you wanted to join our Discord channel, and you were like, oh, you were too busy.
When was this?
6 months ago or something like that. And then I said,
oh, yeah. Well, I thought you were just some crackpot, dude.
I know, I am. So I asked if you would join and give us a tour of your tank. So we'll need to talk about that and get you involved a little bit more. It's an amazing group of people.
I've never been on a Discord. I've heard that term a lot, and I know the Reef Beef guys have a Discord.
Yeah, Todd's on it.
Oh yeah,
I'm just trying to say.
Yeah, right. Todd is. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll have to check out this Discord thing. Yeah.
Yeah, I'll email you and I'll
all right. And this time I won't blow you off.
I'm sure you probably will.
Okay.
Definitely like that.
Moving on. Can I just jump into the comments for some of the questions for Keith? Because I've just been running out of time. This is an interesting name. Rod Fatboy Nuts would like to ask Keith. Question for Keith.
Bolus fan right there.
What does he use for automation and monitoring wise?
GHL, innit?
Yeah.
Yeah, I use the Proflux. I don't really do much automation at all. I just like to monitor. So, I use the Proflux to control the bolus dose. I don't use the I do use the Proflux to control the calcium reactor. So there's a pH probe in the calcium reactor, and if it gets below a certain point, then I'll change that set point to either increase or decrease the alkalinity for the system. But I like to be in control. When I had Jake Adams on my show, he used a very he said I am the controller. So I think that was well put. That he's the one that wants to be in control, not let a piece of electronics make decisions about the tank. And I think, to me, it's always about observation and seeing whether your corals are happy or not. And if the corals are happy, then I you know, that's something that you should always have
it's
trump
really
any
right.
other decisions.
What else have we got here?
Just be careful. There's some dodgy ones there, Tom.
I know. I'm looking through them now. There's quite a lot to be fair.
Ron's taking a lot of heat.
I am. I'm trying to get through quite a lot of these.
That's why I'm here. I'm cannon fodder, Keith.
Keith, is your calorie in range now as your patient? Yeah, I think you've already answered that.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah.
This evening. Let's have a look what else we've got. I think it was a question regarding favourite fish and coral, which I know is a bit of a textbook question, Keith. Any particular sort of choices of there? Anything that springs to mind? Fish, corals,
favorite fish and corals.
Yeah, anything that you would definitely have in a tank. You know, always have one, and kind of reason why, or anything like that.
I've kind of talked about Tyree purple monster and Oregon blue tort.
Yeah,
coral side and fish. The regal.
The regal
fish.
You love your regal.
Yeah.
Okay. Dave says, Keith, do you look at us over the pond and feel sorry for us as we don't get to experience all the corals that you do?
Why is their beer so fucking warm?
That's the question, Ron. I keep coming up with like, what the fuck is the beer so warm?
Somebody send them a refrigerator.
I'm never going back to that country because the damn beer's so warm. What the hell was that all about? That's not really something I do not feel sorry for you guys. I'm sure you guys have some kick-ass reef tanks.
Oh, there's some brilliant tanks over here.
They're all green, but yeah, there's some good ones.
So what's behind that comment? Is it because that you guys don't get the name corals and all that sort of thing, right? Because is that what it's all about? Is that in Europe you guys don't get the Tyree purple monsters, the Oregon blue torts, and all that sort of thing, and in the US we get all these fancy named corals and stuff?
You say Europe, so see, for me growing up as a kid, and I don't want to get too into the weeds here, America and Hollywood, and every film you went to the cinema, it was made in America. It was full of American people. So everything from America, especially the food, was just so much cooler than what we had. So I'm not saying that Americans would look over towards us and go, losers, but they should.
I almost did a spit take on that.
We could just stitch all these comments together and we've got...
it'd be brilliant. Yeah, it'd be brilliant. Yeah. Okay. Big ES is asking, Keith, does Keith have any Acropora spatulata?
I do. I've got one from Mr. Meckley that I think I still have the piece. It was doing really well for me, and it was like a pink spatulata. Then it turned green, mostly green, which is weird. It's a hard coral to keep. Spatulata are not easy to keep. So I can't recall if I still have a frag of it. I don't have I don't have any frags in any of my display tanks, so there might be a frag in one of my frag tanks, but that's an awesome coral.
Greg saying he thought you retired, Keith.
I know, Greg. I keep getting sucked back in.
He's just stopped replying to Greg's messages.
Oh dear.
Yeah, no, I'm still going. Just kind of like doing some other things, I guess.
You're a veteran, as I called you in the write-up. You're a veteran, so you've got to remind yourself that. Gil's Aquarium's asking, for someone who knows naff all about skiing, what is it like that you love so much about the slopes, Keith?
Well, so what do I love about skiing? It's a challenge. I think that skiing is it could be different, from one day to the next in terms of the challenge of skiing one day. It could be different from 1 hour to the next. So I don't know, man. It's just I always say that the mountain is my gym. I don't like to go to gyms because that's more of a sterile environment, and so I like to be outdoors, and I think that's what skiing is all about for me, is being outdoors and enjoying that, and getting some exercise in when you're doing it. So
you ever get to the bottom of the hill?
That's that was the what am I trying to? What's the word I'm looking for? The inspiration behind Reef Bum was I'm a skier, ski bum, reef bum.
Okay.
There you go.
Did you ever get to the bottom of the hill, Keith? Turn around and go, fuck that, and go home.
Just today, I got to the bottom of the fucking hill, and I almost didn't get back up the hill.
Oh dear,
that sucked. So I almost didn't make this live stream.
Oh,
right.
We'd have done it without you. We'd have still had 80
I'm sure it would have been fun. I'm sure you guys would have gotten a hell of a lot more views without me.
I would have just taken my trousers down, drawn a coral on my butt cheek, and stuck it straight up to the camera.
Yeah, you would have gotten a lot of views, but not from reef keepers.
No.
Oh, dear. Yeah, some people might have got the microscope out as well. Mo's saying, who talks the most, Keith? Meckley or Paletta? Good question.
Yeah, that's a tough
one.
one.
I haven't done any 5-hour streams with Paletta, but he could definitely do the. I'm sure Mike could absolutely go for it.
He's got it in it.
Yeah, because Mike is awesome. I mean, Mike would always reach out to me after a show like a week later and be like, "So we should schedule the next one the next few months." And I mean, he definitely was one of my favorites to talk to, and he's such a legend in the hobby.
I like him. He's a tinkerer as well, isn't he?
Yeah, he's a big guy that experiments, and having him and Sanjay on was such an honor because those guys are so knowledgeable, and just the chemistry with them, between them, you could just see it's very genuine. They're very really good friends outside of keeping reef tanks. So
I think Meckley would outlive Mike on a live stream marathon. I reckon if you were to sing softly,
that's grim, isn't it?
I reckon if you were to sing softly enough, Mike would just fall asleep.
I don't know. I think Meckley's done a 12-hour live stream, so that's I can't fathom. My last show with him, we did 5 hours. I don't even know what the fuck we were talking about at the end. I mean,
we did 6.5.
Yeah. So how did you guys feel after that?
Well, I went to bed at
Terrible. Terrible.
Ron went to bed. He turned up in his pajamas.
I got to 4.5 and went, I actually think I did that. Too much.
Yeah.
Oh dear.
I was too drunk. I couldn't walk, so I had to just sit in the chair.
Well, I mean, I would absolutely need to. I think we took a couple of pee breaks during the 5-hour live stream I did with them. So or else sit on a bucket or something like that.
Sit on a bucket.
Jim's asking Keith, time to pass the baton. How do you feel about the future of the hobby? People, resources, etc. What do you think the future of the hobby has in store for us?
I think it's wow, that's kind of got me stumped there. What do I think about the future of the hobby? I think we need to get more young people into the hobby to really feel good about the future of the hobby, and it's gotten very complicated, meaning that there's a lot of people that use a lot of different things to run reef tanks, and there's a lot of gizmos and what have you. And I think that I think there's a place for that stuff, technology, but I also think that you got to get back to the basics, and it doesn't take a lot of stuff to run a very, very successful reef tank. So I think that we gotta not overcomplicate the hobby. We got to make it the cost of entry more reasonable for people to get into. A softy tank is a great way to start as a reef keeper. You don't have to spend a lot of money. Get away from the named corals. Stop, shelling out $1,000 or something like that for a bounce mushroom, and just try to promote that sort of philosophy to fellow reef keepers or the younger folks that might want to be getting into it. I think the less complications that are out there, it can be daunting to people that get into it. Like they see all the trace element dosing and dosing amino acids and this, that, and the other thing. I think it kind of scares a lot of people away. So, as influencers, we got to do our part to try to make it less daunting.
Keep it simpler as well, I think.
Yeah, no, for sure. So that's important. The future is important.
Definitely. What else have we got in here? Does Keith prefer live rock? If so, what kind? Where from?
Well, let me address what Greg Carroll was saying. I think the technology is what attracting younger people in the hobby. They understand it more than us old salty forts. Yeah, I agree, Greg. I think that is it is attracting people, but I think also that it creates a problem. It could be problematic because they're not understanding. Some people are maybe not understanding the nuts and bolts in terms of how to be successful.
It can make you a bit more detached from the actual biology of the tank.
Yeah, I think so. So I mean, it is good, but it can be bad. So I think that technology has definitely helped me as a reef keeper. But I've gotten in over my head at times, and I could certainly see how that could be easy for somebody that's just kind of getting into the hobby to kind of get in over their head by leaning too heavily on technology.
Sorry, I'll just go back to Sean's question, Keith. Live rock. Do you prefer live rock? If so, what kind and where does it come from?
Absolutely. And that's a debate I guess I could have with Greg Carroll, because I know he's a big dry rock guy.
Freshly dynamited out of a reef.
Yes, exactly.
No, I mean, I've tried dry rock only tanks and had many problems, but Greg's got it dialed in terms of that process, and that's cool. I've just found that I could ramp up a lot quicker on my tanks in terms of establishing a microbiome and getting corals to grow better sooner.
Yeah, it just takes a lot longer with dead rock, doesn't it?
That's been my experience. So there's a couple places here in the U.S. I got some live rock from KP Aquatics, which is a place down in the Florida Keys, and they shipped it to me. All right, what are we laughing at now? Sexual chocolate.
Rod's comments. It's talking about sexual chocolate. I was going, what?
Honestly, Keith,
what kind of channel are you guys running here?
Amanda and Matt are singing the song that Eddie Murphy sang in Coming to America, and he's like, "Sexual chocolate."
Anyway,
so I got some live rock from KP Aquatics, and they shipped it in water. So it came overnight, and it came with all these critters in it, brittle starfish. I had a couple of mantis shrimp that I was able to get out. There was some pistol shrimp in it, but some of these brittle starfish that came in were maybe like a couple inches big. Now they've grown to be that big. So it's cool. And I've got, I've also got a feather duster that came in, and it is still kicking. So I cycled that tank in a week. That tank was cycled in a week, and I didn't add any bacteria to it, or I didn't put any shrimp in it. It was cycled in a week. And so there's pros and cons to it, because will, like I mentioned, it you will bring in some hitchhikers, but I did a series of high salinity dips with the rock to flush out a lot of the stuff that you don't want to have in the tank. Some did make it through those high salinity dips. So I'm just a believer in, if you can get the live rock, then that's going to be a less painful way to and a quicker way to start the reef tank. But dry rock works too.
Cool.
Yeah, just a lot slower.
Banana Ram's asking, has Keith ever tried spawning corals or had any spawn in any of your tanks?
No and no.
Moving on.
Yeah, move on.
Or not that I know of that have spawned.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was going to say.
Matt's asking, how does Keith feel about import bans on certain fish and coral?
You know, I don't know enough about that stuff. I think that's an important part of the ecosystem in terms of the importers. You know, we still need the importers for corals and for fish. I know there's a lot of people that aquaculture corals, and that's definitely a good thing for the hobby. And there's tank raised fish. That's a good thing for the hobby. But I think we also do still need the imports that we're been getting. So that's something that, perhaps over time that that might stop. But I know that in terms of what we do as hobbyists and what comes into the hobby and getting in new and different and interesting, unique types of corals and fish, that would suck if we didn't have the stuff coming from the wild.
Imis is asking, SPS going straight in after a cycle?
I've never done that. I know Jake Adams was a proponent of stuffing as many corals into a tank as possible right at the beginning, even before fish. If I did do that, I would not be putting in high-end stuff. I would be putting in some tester corals or some corals that I know are extremely hardy, like Montipora, Stylophora, that sort of thing. And once those things do well, then I would move on.
And the last question I've got from the viewers for you, Keith, which is a little bit humorous. I do apologise. I have to say it out. Drippy Reef, you would like to know, has Keith got any fish or coral juice caught in your beard?
Yeah, there's some stuff in there right now. My wife always tells me my beard stinks.
Brilliant.
Stop sniffing my beard then.
Yeah, exactly.
Ron, have you got any other questions you wanted to ask, Keith?
We've gone so off-piste. See the joke I did there.
See the joke.
You've answered most of what I was going to ask. So, yeah, I mean, there's memorable moments and reflections we can go through, but I think it's late enough.
Yes. Keith, thank you ever so much for coming on. Would you come back for seconds?
Oh,
absolutely, guy. This was a lot of fun.
Oh,
good. Good. That's the main. That's the main thing. That's the main thing.
I saw a nudie branch moving in Keith's beard. Yeah, probably.
Conceal that.
Oh dear. But no, Keith, I know you've got other plans, other things to be getting on with your Friday afternoon.
Yeah, I got to drink more beer.
Drink more beer. But, thank you ever so much for coming on the network. It's been a pleasure. Honestly, it really has. Really, thanks for coming on. This Sunday then, Ron, you got Salty Banter coming on 3:00. Is that right? Yeah.
3:00 on Sunday.
3:00 Sunday. So if you haven't already, join the Discord. As always, that's the link. If you want to join the Discord, get part of it. 3:00. If you want to have a go, get on camera, live chat. Anybody can join. Yeah. Okay. Perfect. I'll be back on Sunday with Drippy, or Dippy, as everybody's calling him now. That has stuck, Dippy. Unfortunately. Just like the onion has stuck with me. It's now Dippy from now on. You heard it here.
Well, I thought you were pals.
What's behind that name?
You don't want to know, Keith. That's for next. That's for next time. You don't want to see the onion. Trust me. No, we will be back Sunday morning. Myself, Drippy, Ian Rodders, and Josh is on Sunday. But if you haven't already done so, please give us a like. We've had 90-odd people watching tonight. It's been a pleasure. Keith, you've been an absolute star. Thanks for coming on and supporting the network. This is what it's all about. We appreciate everybody getting behind it and pushing it forward. And like I say, who knows where we'll be this time next year. But yeah, we shall see. But thank you very much, everybody. Enjoy your weekend, and we will see you all soon. Take care. See you all
everybody.
Sunday.
Thanks, everybody.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye.
Bye.